Super. So that I can give you guys copies of this for posting to the board and posting to the folder. So I think you guys got it last time. You want to post it in two places, in the folder for your grade and on the discussion board for your peers. And then you get points for doing both of those things. Okay. So without further ado, I've got my timer ready. I'll do the timing for you. And let's see, where, Shanice, can you come off? There you go. There you are. Okay, super. All right. We are ready when you are.
Okay, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, so hello everyone. Did you know that AI-powered adaptive learning has increased student learning outcome by up to 30%? We are all students, and at times we struggle with work that we don't understand. So frequently, I have read and get updates. This is how I stumble on this article. Many have always thought that artificial intelligence makes students lazy and less productive. But I would like to inform you about the transformative development in education, which is the integration of artificial intelligence. Today, I will inform you on the current event titled Artificial Intelligence in Education. Enhancing student personalized and learning. I will share evidence from the National Education Association in 2024, State of Ethics Report, and UNESCO in 2024, Global Education Monitoring Report. Lastly, I will explain the similarities and the difference of their point of views. Artificial intelligence has the potential to solve some of the biggest challenges in education in the world today. According to UNESCO, it has one of the goals of education in 2030 agenda. How is artificial intelligence beneficial to students? Which is a question. It has made them lazy, and it has killed student creative capacities. This answer to this question is simply a no, because artificial intelligence is here to enhance the teaching and learning process. Firstly, UNESCO highlight artificial intelligence potential to address learning gaps, particularly for disadvantages of students. And through adaptive assessment and real-time feedback, it insists that this should be done with strict consideration and risks involved. Why EdSearch reports that 75% of educators believe AI power to enhance student engagement and education association. These three sources share the same view because they recognize AI potential to enhance personalized learning and emphasize the importance of teaching, training, and support. Nevertheless, they differ in the sense that UNESCO focuses on addressing learning gaps for near. Sorry. Then disadvantages students face while using artificial intelligence, because it makes them less productive and limit their capacity. Today, I inform you about the current event on artificial intelligence and how it enhanced education. I shared evidence from UNESCO reports, EdSearch, and NIR. Lastly, I explained the similarities and the differences in the evidence. Education is the key to success, and anything that facilitates education should be valorized. Thank you.
You did it. It may have been painful, but you did it.
Thank you.
Your time was 4:45, so right where you needed to be. Talk to me about how you're feeling.
I feel good.
Good for you. Good. 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 First of all, I think the topic that you picked is a fabulous topic. I think conversations about education and AI are swirling everywhere. I remember in the beginning, instructors, teachers, educators were really stern and thinking AI usage is cheating, right? Plagiarism. And now I'm seeing a shift where educators are like, they're doing it, like students are doing it, and it's a thing. And if you don't know how to use it properly, you're going to be almost at a disadvantage. So I've seen classrooms shift from saying you can't use it to, okay, you can use it, but let's talk about how we're using it and why we're using it and stuff like that. So there's definitely been a shift. It's kind of one of those things where it's like they opened a can of worms. AI is like a can of worms, and it's like you can't put them back, right? So I think the topic that you picked was excellent, because it's just everywhere right now, not just in education, but in a lot of spaces. What I really appreciated that you did is you followed the speech format very closely to ensure that you covered everything that was expected for this speech. So good job following the instructions and just making sure. Now you can still give a good speech, right? And not have it follow these formats. But the purpose of these formats is just to kind of give you some guardrails on how to keep the information, you know, flowing and in a logical order and things like that. So you did a really good job with that. You provided good, credible evidence to support. You nailed what you needed to do with the similarities and differences. There are similarities in the information that you found, but you were also able to kind of dig deep and figure out where could there be slight differences in perspective or even contradictory information, and you were able to address an example there. So that was very good. Your conclusion was good too. A lot of times students skip over the importance of restating what it is that you talked us through. But remember, everyone, attention spans are horrible. We don't often pay attention. We don't hear things the first, second, third time we hear it. So when you take that time to summarize everything that you've just shared, it does a lot of things. It may be the first time someone hears it because they didn't hear it the first time. It also reinforces what you've said. So if you said it once and you say it again, it sort of starts to stick for people. So that's why it's important. And it really just reminds people that it sort of puts everything that you just shared into this nice little summary package. So you did an excellent job with your conclusion as well. Level up for you is going to just continue to be your confidence. Just know you know your stuff and just practicing. And I can tell you practiced. Just keep practicing. The more you practice, the more comfortable you're going to be finding that next right word, that next right thought. And again, I'm just going to reinforce, don't be afraid to pause, because you had a handful of filler words in there. And you probably felt them, because I know sometimes we kind of cringe a little bit inside when we do it, but we just can't think of the next right word. And that's just natural for us to do that. So for you, let's just keep working on your confidence. And I think the more that we work on that confidence, those filler words will start to slip away. Sound good? Oh, I hope you feel good. That was really good job. Well done. Okay. And you've got some love in the chat from your peers, so please take a moment and look at that. And now you can just sit back and relax and watch everybody else. Good stuff. Class, is there anybody else that has anything to say verbally? You put some stuff in chat, but does anybody else have anything that they want to say? You are more than welcome to jump in. Anyone? Okay. No need to, but you're welcome to. All right. Let's take a look. Next, we have Kayla.
Can you hear me?
Willing to go first, but now you get to go second.
Still getting it done.
So let me just get my timer reset.
Okay.
And the floor is yours.
According to Nine News journalist Mike Klis, the Denver Broncos have had 12 different starting quarterbacks in just 8 years. Currently, season 9 has started, and quarterback number 13, Bo Nix, has made his first appearance. Now, I know that this topic may not mean much to you, or football may not be your thing. I get that. However, you never know when you will be in the midst of a conversation that takes a sudden turn towards football. You may want to know just enough to stay up with the discussion. I aim to provide you that small amount of information in the next few moments. I have watched and loved the Broncos for years, and I was excited to hear about their new choice in quarterback. I researched what some sports specialists and pro football players are saying about him and what their thoughts are regarding his new position as quarterback. Today, I'm going to inform you about the concerns and excitement surrounding Bo Nix. I will give evidence from an ESPN sports writer and 2 football veterans, as well as analyzing some of the similarities and differences between these sources. In August of this year, the Denver Broncos made their choice on a new quarterback. They had 3 options to choose from: Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson, and 24-year-old Bo Nix. Obviously, they chose Nix, the rookie, fresh out of college. There were some concerns regarding Nix, however. ESPN senior writer Jeff Blakewold mentioned that while in college, Nix often made short throws to his teammates and, quote, wasn't asked to make throws to all parts of the field, end quote. The concern with Bo was that his arm wasn't strong enough. If he only ever made short throws, how could he be trusted with the long ones? Add to this the fact that he had never played a game of professional football in his life. He wasn't necessarily what you would call experienced. Despite this worry, NFL veterans show their excitement about Bo Nix and give the public reason to trust him and his abilities. Former Denver quarterback and 2-time Super Bowl champion John Elway, quote, believes that Nix's talent and experience will help him find success, end quote. Similarly, Kosmider and Brugler quote Courtland Sutton, a current team member of the Broncos. Sutton says this about his new teammate, Bo, quote, to see him come in and handle what he's handled so far, it's been really fun to see him do his thing. He goes on to say, I'm excited for him, end quote. It is clear that football players are excited and they see the talent residing in Nix. Knowing this instills confidence in fans across the nation. Now that I've shown you some of what people have said about Nix, I want to emphasize the fact that while there are some differing opinions and concerns regarding him and his abilities, overall, the football community is in strong support of him. Yes, some are worried about his arm strength. Yes, some are worried about his lack of experience. But there are many more aspects considered when choosing a quarterback than just arm strength and experience. The encouraging words of football veterans show that there are many reasons to be excited about Nix and his potential for success in professional football. In closing, today I have informed you about quarterback Bo Nix, the concerns and excitement he brings to the Broncos, both current team members and former players. Whether you're a diehard fan or not, I hope that you can now appreciate the anticipation the upcoming football season brings to Broncos country. Thank you.
All right. Well done. Your time was 3:18, right where you needed to be. Good job.
Perfect.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Really shaky, but better now.
How did this compare to your first speech?
This one was harder to write personally. I don't know why I struggled with this one a lot. I don't usually struggle to get words down as much as I did this time. But it was fine. Presenting it was a little bit more nerve-wracking, but not too bad.
Okay. All right. Well, you did great. You look very professional.
Thank you.
Tell you practiced. It's funny when I say I can tell you practice, and then some of you are like, I didn't practice. But I'm assuming you did. It felt like you did.
Yes.
Um, what stood out for me that I really appreciated was you talking about the relevance of this topic. One of the parts of building up to this, as you guys probably remember, was why would your audience care? Why do college students want to hear about these topics? Why are they relevant? And I like what you said about, being able to be part of the conversation. Football comes up. And don't you want to kind of be part of the conversation? So I thought that was a clever way of weaving in why people should think that this topic was interesting. I thought you did a good job there. You picked some good credible sources, doing, was it CNN or ESPN? I can't remember.
ESPN, and then I have
Okay, I
one
thought it
from
was
Nine
ESPN.
News.
Okay. And then of course doing the John Elway, former athletes and things like that. So I thought your sources were good. Overall, I thought you did a great job. Same feedback. I thought you followed the template and I thought that was great. I know it seems crazy that I say that, but sometimes people just go rogue. So it's just really, it's easier for me to grade and I'm able to give and assess and all the points when you sort of follow that template that's given. As we move further along in the semester, the templates won't be so scripted for you guys. And so as we kind of move away from that, that might be easier for some of you, might be a little harder for others of you. So, but you did a really good job. It was well organized. So, congrats. Congrats. Level up for you. I have to think of what would be a good level up for you. Nothing is really coming to mind. So, if as I review these again, if there's something that comes to mind, I'll definitely drop it in the feedback when grading this speech, okay?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, let's see who is next in the queue. I think Faith is up next. Faith, are you ready?
I think I'm ready. My internet is a little strange, so hopefully everything will be okay. But
Okay.
I'm not like glitching out right now or anything?
No, you're doing
Okay.
just fine. Just fine.
Perfect.
And we
All
are
right.
cranking right through, so this is great. So we're ready when you are.
Perfect. Right. Trapping, hunting, and even poisoning. This is what ultimately led to the eradication of Colorado's once vibrant wolf population, according to Colorado State University. Government programs promoted this eradication in an effort to protect the growing population of livestock. Fast forward to today, both government associations and citizens alike are working to bring back the gray wolf. Today, I will be discussing the current reintroduction of gray wolves into Colorado. We will look at the progress of the reintroduction up to this point, the effects of the reintroduction on both us, the human population, and the ecosystem as well. Gray wolves are considered a native species to Colorado. Since the eradication in the 1940s, there have been no reported packs living here full-time, only a small handful of lone wolf sightings, according to Colorado Parks and Wildlife. They are considered both federally and state endangered. In order to bring back this native species, Proposition 114 was created and passed officially in 2020, approving the reintroduction of wolves to Colorado. This proposition stated that the wolves were to be released into public land west of the Continental Divide. Every year for the next 3 to 5 years, 10-15 wolves will be released. The reintroduction officially started last December of 2023, when the first 10 wolves were captured from Oregon as part of a year-long deal with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. They were released specifically in Summit and Grand, Colorado. In terms of updates on the wolves themselves, CBS News reported that 4 pups from one pair of wolves were born this year, creating the first official pack. It was then dubbed the Copper Creek Pack. Now, they also reported that there have been so far 3 wolf mortalities, and it's believed to be caused by mainly other predators such as mountain lions. The father of the Copper Creek Pack was one of the 3 who died, unfortunately. Colorado Parks and Wildlife had recently captured the pack due to continuous livestock depredation, and it was believed to be mostly perpetrated by the father of the pack. He had leg wounds and was in poor health when captured. And though they tried to treat his injuries, he did die soon after being captured. The mom and 4 pups are in good health and will continue to be held until the pups are grown enough to be re-released in a different Colorado location. Moving on to the effects of the reintroduction, the presence of more apex predators such as wolves will have an impact on Colorado's ecosystem, though it's believed that it will be on a smaller scale because of the scale of wolves being released, according to the University of Colorado Boulder. We are likely to see a decrease in certain prey animals, such as deer and elk, as well as an increase to certain vegetation. The increase in vegetation means more habitat material for other animals, such as beavers and birds. When it comes to concerns, most are coming from livestock owners about depredation of wolves on their livestock. According to Colorado Parks and Wildlife, there have been so far 16 confirmed cases of wolf depredation since the release. Programs and tools have been put in place to prevent depredation in a non-lethal manner. The Colorado Department of Agriculture states that up to $20,000 grants are available to help educate and assist livestock owners with some of the non-lethal wolf deterrence and loss prevention that's available. In cases of continuous depredation, livestock owners must apply for a permit in order to use injurious or lethal measures due to their endangerment status. Because the deal with Oregon was only put in place for a single year, Colorado Parks and Wildlife needs a new source for wolves. And currently, they plan to bring the next 10 to 15 from British Columbia, Canada. Today, I've talked to you about the reintroduction and some of the details surrounding it. We've looked at what started it in the first place, the concerns and effects brought about so far, and what we might see in the future. Though this project is still in its early stages, the combined efforts of everyone involved continues to push it forward, and everyone is optimistic in the project for the future of gray wolves. All of us living in Colorado can look forward to watching this project in real time and what comes of it.
Right. Well done, Faith. I got 520 on your 522 on your time. So talk to me. How did that feel?
It felt pretty good. It was honestly kind of hard to condense everything. I had a feeling I might go a little over, but I tried to do my best to get the main information in, but I think it went okay.
If you, besides going over a tiny bit on the time, is there anything that you would have done differently if you were to do it again? Anything come to mind?
Not immediately. I feel like I would have to look back and kind of watch myself because
Sure. Okay.
right now can't really think of anything, but
That's okay. What did you think went well? Like what felt good?
I feel like the material felt pretty good. I think that the subject overall, I felt pretty confident on it, and hopefully my cadence was clear enough. I don't think I used many filler words, or maybe less than last time. So
Good,
yeah, I think that went well.
good, perfect. All right. So I have some notes here for you. I thought I really liked your attention getter. That your attention getter was good. Because at first I'm like, what is she talking about? So that's what you do with an attention getter. It's like, ooh, and I even knew what your topic was. So it took me a second. So I also let's see, I really thought you did a thorough job of your research. You really dug deep, pulled out the highlights, things that I felt like you strived to give us some information that may not have been common knowledge, where if you're just kind of following the news around the wolf reintroduction, you might know some of it, but you dug deeper and gave us some things that I think, like I did not know that we only had like this 1 year contract, and now we have to find another play. Not paid attention to any of that, so I thought all that was pretty interesting. So I would say we really walked away from your speech learning a lot. So I thought that was really good.
Thank you.
I didn't hear, so one concern that I had was, it was a concern, but at the same time I was like, ooh, but the way you did it was so good. So you had, in my opinion, a well-organized 3-part thesis statement and plan and outline for your speech. What it was, though, didn't exactly align with the template that was given for this particular speech. And so I didn't hear you talk about similarities and differences in the sources and really speak to that as one of your main points. But
Mhm.
again, I like the way you organized it. So this is that moment where I say, like, we give you a template, we kind of want you to follow that, but that doesn't mean that that makes for a great speech versus you not, if that makes sense. So it's hard for me to be critical because I feel like what you delivered was very organized. If your information was all scattered and you didn't have this roadmap that you were going to take us down, and you previewed it, you're like, this is what we're going to cover. You covered it, and then you summarized it. So you were well organized. So it's really hard for me to be like, well, but you didn't do this. But again, following the template, I felt like there was a couple of things that were missed that we were looking for. So that's like a good job, but oops at the same time. So
Gotcha.
take that for what it's worth, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. And then level up for you, besides just making sure that you're following the instructions and the templates if they're given to you, because some professors might just ding you and not, because you didn't do it the way it was outlined, and not appreciate the way that you did it. I appreciate that the way you did it. So let's just
Thank
put
you.
that. But all that aside, your level up, there's 2. So Faith, you are very calm and collected, or at least you come across as calm and collected, which is a strength.
Thank you.
What you have to balance that with a little bit is perhaps not having as much variance in your voice. And and I don't want to say monotone, because that sounds really bad for me to be like, you were monotone, because you weren't. But because your voice is so consistent and steady throughout, sometimes your audience will lose you because they're not feeling the variance and the excitement and the change in your voice. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So keep the calm and collected, but what you might want to do as a level up is figure out how you can vary up your speed or your tone or something to make your audience feel like they're kind of moving along in a conversation with you, which kind of
Right.
varies. If you watch it back, you might see what I'm talking about. You were just like, it was level. It was a good pace and everything. And so that's also a strength, but something that you could just kind of play with a little bit. Biggest level up is your eye contact. And so when you watch this back, I think you're going to see that you had your notes off to your left. And so you can kind of see that you're looking off to the left. So that's going to be playing with where you put your notes. Is there some place you can put your notes a little bit up here, more in front of you, where you're looking up more at your camera and not off to the side? Those notes are nitpicky, but that's my job.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
okay. So hopefully you're walking away feeling like I did a really good job, because I really, really do think that you did. What are the things to work on? Just now that you have the content there and you had the good information, great research, great sources, now it's just the how to make this a little bit more of an engaging presentation with some of with the eye contact and kind of a variation of your voice.
Yes,
Cool.
ma'am. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. All right. So Brittany's next.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect.
All right.
Statistics show that 6.7 million people of all ages have Alzheimer's disease in the United States. Sadly, the youngest person that was diagnosed was only 19 years old. Now let that sink in. Personally, I did not think it was possible to be diagnosed at such a young age, but the unexpected can happen. Now, this is why organizations exist, is to spread awareness. The Alzheimer's Association, Alzheimer's Association, the world's largest nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's and dementia research, invested a milestone of 100 million in research initiative in 2023, the largest single year total since the organization's funding in 1980. The Alzheimer's Association was funded in 1980 by a group of family caregivers and individuals interested in this research. Jerome H. Stone was our founding president. Throughout the years, the number of people suffering from Alzheimer's keeps rising. To be honest, I feel there needs to be more funding and awareness for this terrible disease. According to the Alzheimer's Association, over 50 million people worldwide suffer from Alzheimer's, and the number of patients will triple to 152 million by 2050. To spread awareness, the Alzheimer's Association holds annually in more than 600 communities worldwide. The Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest fundraiser for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. Participants are encouraged to raise critical funds that allow the Alzheimer's Association to provide 24/7 care and support and advanced research toward methods of prevention, treatment, and ultimately a cure. Recently, a drug called lecanemab that slows down memory and thinking decline has been approved to treat early Alzheimer's disease by the Medicines and Healthcare Products Agency, MHRA. And a huge breakthrough that FDA approved is the latest medication for Alzheimer's treatment. That means Medicare Part B now covers this pricey drug. However, Part B enrollees are still responsible for 20% of the costs for that medication. Currently listed by a manufacturer at $26,000 annually. FDA traditionally approval of this drug in July. CMS has covered PET scans when used to determine whether this treatment is appropriate for a patient. In addition, in October of 2023, the CMS issued a new policy that expands coverage of brain PET imaging for the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. And additionally, this drug is only offered to patients that have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I shared with you how the Alzheimer's Association tried to raise awareness and how they fundraise to be able to provide such groundbreaking news and to help us prepare for the future.
All right. Good job, Brittany. 404. Talk to me. I know you're having some thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. I got stuck.
You're like,
I got stuck because I was focused on reading, and normally I'm much better not reading things. And so even though I studied all of that information, I get tongue-tied and tongue-twisted. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yes.
Yes, I would say having heard you present before on the last one, I have something to compare to. If I didn't know you, I wouldn't have anything to compare to, right? But having seen your videos in class and having you here last time, it felt like you weren't as comfortable or confident about the material this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like you didn't want to get it. Oh, my dog's driving me crazy. It was almost like you didn't want to mess up the information So you were being very careful in your reading. It wasn't even that you were reading it, it was that you were being very careful and cautious with your reading.
Yes.
And so I could just feel it. I could just sense that you're just like, ah, not getting
Yeah, I wanted
out.
to be so careful because that's delicate information. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So really the only thing that you can do about that is the learning in that is when you're doing a topic that you don't know really, really well, you don't know every day. I know that you do some volunteering in this space and you're passionate about this space, but I don't know that you're like, an advocate going out and doing presentations on this all the time. Maybe you are. I get the sense that you're not because it just it's almost like anytime I start a job with a new nonprofit, I might be passionate about the work, but you have to like kind of get the rhythm and you have to get the
Yes.
elevator speech and you have to get the spiel and you have to learn how to say things as eloquently as the people who've been doing the work in the space for so many years.
Yes.
And I can see that's what it was. It's easier to present on things as you're seeing that you just kind of know. It's your everyday stuff. You talk about it all the time. And so when we don't have topics that we're super comfortable with, we struggle. And that's when we really depend on our notes. So the lesson is if you don't pick a topic that you know really, really well, then you have to practice because that language is just not natural for you.
Yeah.
So I think you knew what your big takeaway on this one was. I
Yep.
didn't even have to tell you, but I can feel your pain. And it's actually a lesson for all of us because there are going to be times when we are asked to present on something that we don't know really well. We may care about it. I mean, I could see you getting invited to a fundraiser and or something, and then them being like, well, you've been such a great champion of this work. Would you come up and say a few words? And you like care so much that you're like, yes, I'll do anything for you. And you're like, but this is not what I talk about on a daily, right? So it's really, really challenging. So other than that, I thought you led with interesting facts to get us started. The 19-year-old, that stat, I had no idea. That's crazy. You brought it into the current event stream by talking about some of the new drugs and things that are available and things that are happening that have happened in the last couple of years. So I thought that was really good. I did struggle a little bit, as I shared with Faith on hers, about hearing the similarities and the differences in what you were researching, but I think I knew that you might have been one of the ones that was like, I'm not really finding what you want there. Because sometimes when we don't find differences in our credible sources, it's hard to talk about what those differences are. And that could be your situation. But overall, good job. Don't beat yourself up. I mean, this is what we're here to do, is to learn and to like figure this out. So take that away from this, that you got to pick a topic that you know really, really well. If you can. If you can't, you just have to study and practice and almost have people in your life listen to you and let you practice. Like, let me talk to you. And it doesn't even have to be formal. It could be over dinner. It could be talking to your spouse or your kids or someone and being like, let me talk to you about this topic, and practicing just being able to have it like roll off the tongue. Because it's just some of that's, especially when it's technical like that. When you're talking about drugs and research and all that stuff, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But you did good. You pushed through. In fact, what did I write down? You struggled with the word initiatives.
Yes. I was reading. I was like, oh my gosh, why can I not get this out?
And I'm not saying that to be critical. I'm actually saying that I was impressed that you didn't let it derail you. You like took a second, you paused, and you just pushed through it, and you got there and you moved on. So that is not a criticism. That is like a good job for you, because there are some words that we can say in our head, and then when it's time, I'm going to even say it just to make you feel better. Extraneous. Extreme. What is the term for when you can speak freely and off the cuff? Does someone know how to say that word?
I know it's there, but
extraneous. Do you guys know the word? Like when I teach that part of public speaking, I don't even say the word because I can hear it in my head, but my mouth will not.
It just doesn't come out. I get it.
God, someone help me. Everybody else in the world seems to know how to say it. Demira, I know you know how to say it. No, you know. Lydia, do you know
You've
the
got
word?
me stumped.
Ah, I'll have to just like drop it in the announcement board. And
Yes, please
it'll
do.
like code. You guys will know what I'm talking about, and it'll be like that's the word. I, for the life of me, cannot say that word. So I'm only saying that is sometimes when we are public speaking, if we know we get hung up on those things, I know that some people would coach you like to keep practicing, don't let it hang you up. But then the reality is sometimes you just have to find a different word.
Yeah.
You just have to find a different word because you like build yourself up a wall of like, okay,
Yeah.
then that's all you're thinking about. So
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
good job, Brittany. You really pushed through. Good stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. Uh, Candace. Hey, I always do that. I always mess up your name. Where are you at? Are you still in the, did we lose her? Oh, you are. No, you're up. You moved up top. Say your name for me.
Cadence.
Cadence. Okay. All right. Cadence.
Yeah.
I was going to say Candace, and that's not right. Cadence. Okay. Are you ready?
I would say, yeah, I am. Just off the record, this is a topic that I have not really covered very much. It's medical, and also I had to go through so many sources to find this information, so it may be vague, but I really tried on this. And I have practiced a lot, so I hope that it really shows. So
Okay. Well, don't worry. You're in good company because we're all kind of struggling with some of our topics here. So you're okay. Seriously. So give it your best shot, okay?
all right.
All right. I am ready when you are.
A new promising approach to treating cholera has been recently discovered. Microcins or antibiotic peptides have been discovered as a better alternative than antibiotics to treat cholera. This is important because new breakthroughs in medicine are amazing for our survival and our health. My interest in this topic or event has been because of how new medical breakthroughs can prove false promises within the medical industry and can drastically improve our health. The research I have done on the topic is how the microcins are gram-negative bacteria that can restrict activity to strains of species related to the producing species of bacteria. As for antibiotics, they have a wider range but can be harsher. So just pumping antibiotics into someone who has cholera can be deadly because of dehydration. And that is because cholera causes severe diarrhea and dehydration. So a softer approach is oftentimes better. Today, I am, or I already partially informed you on a current event, which is a new cholera treatment recently discovered or found. I will share evidence from, or I covered some evidence from the National Library of Medicine, Science Direct, and News Medical. These are the top three I've found it from. All websites say microcins target certain bacteria, while Science Direct and National Library of Medicine say they target bacteria resistant to antibiotics. My current event is how microcins are discovered to help treat cholera. And the expert on that, I found out that the information, majority of it came from the National Library of Medicine. So there isn't just one expert. It's a whole team. My sources are News Medical, National Library of Medicine, and Science Direct. Microcins can help target bacteria that are immune to antibiotics. They can be less harsh and can possibly target the cholera bacteria. All state that microcins are very, very picky on the bacteria. But Science Direct and the National Library of Medicine say the microcins target bacteria that aren't reactive to antibiotics. Today, I informed you about the current event, which is microcins discovered to be a better treatment against cholera. I shared evidence from Science Direct, National Library of Medicine, and News Medical. And then I explained the similarities and differences in evidence between each source that I've got the information from. Cholera is not the easiest to treat, but it might have became easier with the help of microcins. Right.
All right, good job. 456. Talk to me. How did that feel compared to your first presentation?
It felt better. I was a lot more confident. And yeah, I went over the time, but I feel like actually being more confident and able to make more eye contact and actually be present more than to just be locked in a bubble and not even realize what I was saying and also swiveling in my chair
Yes.
was a lot worse than me going over the time.
You
Just
did
as-
go over the time. The time on this one was 3 to 5 minutes, and you did 456. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're good.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
One thing that I thought happened, although it could just be me, is I felt like there was a section that you repeated yourself.
Yeah.
Did you repeat yourself, or was there some slight variety in what you said?
Well, I did repeat a little bit, yes.
Okay.
But I tried to put a different perspective per se.
Okay, maybe I just didn't hear the difference in the two, because for a minute I was like, I thought you just said that. And I had a little deja vu moment, and I was like, I feel like she said that twice. So
Well,
maybe you didn't. So watch it back, and then just if you did repeat yourself because you got distracted in your notes and you reread and had an out-of-body experience for a moment and then came back to us, because that happens, right? We sort of sometimes we just go on autopilot. So if that happened, I want you to be mindful of it. If it was just me not hearing a distinction between you describing two things, then it's me, not you. So just kind of, I just want you to have awareness of that. With that being said, what it felt like a couple of times was that when you were talking about your credible sources, you were just giving information and then listing the three. And it didn't exactly align in my brain with which of those sources is credited with saying which thing. So sometimes you have to really say, according to Science Direct, blah, 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 so that your audience can connect the dots. Like if they want to go research it more, if they hear you say something, they know, okay, I need to go look at that source because I want to learn more about that. It's a little hard when I was asking you to do similarities and differences because you were kind of grouping them. So that's tricky. But earlier when you were talking, and maybe you did do this, because like I said, I was having like a deja vu moment for a minute. You just want to make sure that so this is a good note for everybody. When you make those statements and you pull stuff from research, when you can immediately link it to the source that you got it from verbally, it can be super quick. According to the CDC, blah, 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 blah. And then they know that that's where you got that information from, and then you can carry on with whatever you want to say. Overall, I felt like this one was better. I felt like you were more confident, which is, I want to say surprising, but not because that's a criticism of you, but this was hard. This was a hard topic. So kudos to you for showing that much improvement when I feel like the topic was harder. That's what I'm trying to say. So that means the next time when maybe the topic is more comfortable for you, I'm excited to see what that looks like. So I hope that comes across as a compliment and not as a diss, because it was definitely a better presentation. And I feel like this material was harder to present on than the last one. So I feel like I've seen growth in just a couple of weeks. So that's exciting. Do you feeling better?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
I am. And also, I did try to connect the sources to the information, but a lot of the sources said the same things. It's like a lot of them said the exact same thing that the other source said, and so I didn't know who to say according to and who to link up to what, because each one had the same information, and that's why I had to look at a lot of sources to get verifying information and put it in a way to where I could actually manage to read it and speak it and understand it.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that you were grouping them for just that reason, and this won't be an issue on the next one because you won't have to do that grouping again, and you'll be able to connect the thoughts that you're finding to whichever source you want to cite instead of having to do all of them. So good job. Hope you're feeling good about it.
Oh yeah, I am.
Good, 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 good. All right, you're off the hook then. Until next time. I did get a request, you guys, for Harlan to go next, which I think he was going next anyway because he's concerned about his internet. He keeps dropping and coming back to join us. So I do feel like you were next anyway. You were, but let's get you going before we lose you completely. Sound good?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You bet.
Cool.
All right. And it sounds like we can hear you okay, so we are ready when you are.
Fantastic. A couple weeks ago, homeless veterans in LA won a lawsuit against the West LA Veterans Association, which is it's the government. A couple weeks ago, homeless veterans in LA won a lawsuit against the West LA VA, which is the branch of government that is supposed to assist veterans after they get out of the military. A federal judge settled the lawsuit in Los Angeles, where the homeless veterans in the city had sued the West LA VA that was leasing land that was supposed to be for veterans to the nearby colleges for oil and for oil drilling. A handful of our classmates, including myself, are veterans or military spouses, and I believe that everyone needs to know what the government is doing for our veterans. As a veteran myself, I am interested in anything related to the well-being of other veterans and how they are being helped after they separate from the service. I follow several military and veteran-focused news outlets to keep myself informed on those things. Today, I'm going to inform you on the legal win from the court battle between the Los Angeles veterans and the West LA VA. I will share evidence from Task and Purpose, NBC News, and NPR, and then explain the similarities and differences between those articles. Federal Judge David Carter ruled that the 388-acre section of West LAVA's land that was awarded in 1888 to house disabled veterans is being used improperly, and ordered the West LAVA to build 750 new homes in the next 12 to 18 months, followed by another 1,800 homes on the land that is currently being used by the colleges and an energy company for oil drilling. Currently, large sections of land is being leased to the UCLA for a baseball field, and then the Brentwood School, which is a large private school, mainly for just like parking and other things that's not necessarily veteran related, and then to an oil drilling company, like I mentioned. In 2016, Congress ruled that leases to private organizations, their families, the VA claimed that the funds from these leases were ruled that all the leases were illegal and void. In the Task and Purpose article, part of Judge Carter's decision was written, each administration since 2011 had been warned that by the VA's own Office of the Inspector General, federal courts, and veterans that they were not doing enough to house veterans in Los Angeles. Despite these warnings, the VA has not made good on its promise to build housing for veterans. The West LA VA had previously promised to build 1,200 housing units because of another lawsuit that they lost, but they did not deliver, only building 233 of those. In 2021, a large temp encampment was cleared off the land, and partly in promise from the VA to provide more housing on their large acreage of land. Only a few temporary tiny homes were erected since then, but they aren't permanent housing and have a lot of issues like leaking, lack of electricity, and plumbing. Many of the veterans that were in that large tent encampment were unable to be housed in the little tiny homes and had to be displaced and moved to different parts of the city. In the NPR report, it added that the contractors setting up the housing counted VA disability as income, and many vets had made too much money to get into the housing units. The NBC News article, it covered many of the same things, adding a quote from Mark Rosenbaum, who's the lead counsel for the veteran plaintiffs, saying this nation cannot genuinely hold itself out as the home of the brave so long as the brave do not have a home. All three articles cover many of the same points. The VA lost a lawsuit against veterans in LA about the use of the very large section of land that it was supposed to be used for veterans, and that the VA had been ordered to void their leases and build a total of 2,500 new housing units. While NPR and NBC News articles are fairly short and to the point, Task and Purpose went very much more into depth into several other lawsuits that the West LA VA had lost and promised to build housing for and failed to deliver. Today, I informed you about the current legal litigation against the West LA VA. I shared evidence from Task and Purpose, NPR, and NBC, and then explained some of the similarities and differences. Veterans deserve more than what the detached hires within the government and VA give them for serving their country and coming home with both mental and physical ailments.
All right, 5:20.
That felt long.
Harlan, you're struggling with your internet so much. I was like,
Yeah.
painful. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
There was one section where, at least for me, you cut out, and it was around the
geez.
but it was not very long.
Okay.
But just when you watch it back around the 2-minute 30 mark, there was like a little, at least on my end. So you'll just have to bear with that when you watch it back.
Okay.
Let me ask you the same question I've asked others. How did that feel compared to your first one? What's going on? What are you thinking?
That one felt a lot more choppy than my first one, actually. Like it felt a lot less smooth than the first one I did a while ago.
I was just gonna blame it on your
There's
internet.
a lot more notes and reading for me to do. Yeah, but that wouldn't be intellectually honest. I could, but
Fair enough. So that was hard for me to be able to see or say because to me it looks like your internet is having issues. So I can't tell if it's the internet or if you are truly kind of in a having this choppy, but you're hearing it firsthand. So I
Yeah,
think that's
it
a
could
fair
definitely be both
assessment.
though, because
Yeah.
my internet is going out slowly, so it could probably be both, but it definitely to me didn't feel like as smooth as my last one.
Can you put it, do you have an idea of why? Like, is there
I
something?
think I maybe just had too much for me to read, and my brain was trying to process what I was reading faster than I could say it, and that's how a lot of things work. And so I was like going over words twice.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And again, some of these topics, I mean, they may same advice they gave or thoughts I gave Brittany. It's an important topic. Clearly, this is an important topic to you. So it's frustrating when you care so much about the topic and you just feel like you can't speak eloquently about it like you wish you could. So
Yeah.
you're in good company with that feeling. What I did notice is thank you for making some of those shifts in your background. I can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah,
Yes.
I try to mess with my flag to make it so that the sun wouldn't have that dot there.
Super helpful. I mean, just one less thing to be distracting was appreciated. So that was really good. Didn't go unnoticed, so I wanted to mention that. Um, oh, one thing that I really, really liked. First of all, two things. So I really like that you wove in why this topic is important to this particular audience, right? You talked about, a lot of us are either veterans or we have family members that are veterans, and that is the relevance of this topic for this audience. So I thought that was really a really good tie-in. You did great. I also really appreciated, and I don't think this was your internet. I think you had a little bit of a glitch when you first started.
Yeah, I was well because I originally wrote it like a couple weeks ago, and so it was like it was based on like that day, and so I had to reorganize some of what I had written because it's 2 weeks now. So I'm like, now I have to kind of reorganize that because I didn't think to type it up differently.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
yeah.
But I was going to praise you
Mhm.
on you made a decision like I just need to start over. And you weren't so far into the speech that it was
Yeah.
weird or anything. You kind of just like stopped and you could tell that you were pondering for a minute, like, what do I do? And you just started over confidently and rolled through it. So you can tell I'm a big fan because we have hiccups, we have mess ups, and there are times when you can't be like, can I start over? You have to make that call for yourself, right? And you did. You were just like, you paused, took a moment, didn't panic. At least I couldn't see that you panicked, and you started over. So again, some of these things that I may be sharing that feel like criticisms, they're really not. They're just like, good job pushing through. I
Mhm.
noticed it and you rolled through it. So that was really good. Good topic, really great topic, and I'm glad you spoke on it. So good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Glad my internet didn't cut out halfway through it.
Nope. You had just a little tiny glitch, but again, you didn't drop. I was like, please don't drop off the call, please don't.
Yeah, well,
'Cause
might
that has
happen again,
happened. Yeah, no
but
worries.
it's over now. So
Yes, good stuff. All right. Well, thank you for being here. All right. Demir, am I saying your name right? Demir?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, super. All right. I have you up as next. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Can you hear me fine?
Uh-huh. Oh,
Okay.
wait, before you start, I want you guys to hear this word because I did the pronunciation. I use the word impromptu because I can't say this word.
Extraneous?
Oh, I want to do it. Hold on a second. Extemporaneous.
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 It's a good word.
Extemporaneous. That means impromptu. I cannot say that word. So anyway, now you guys know. I had to look that up because it was driving me crazy. Okay. So without further ado, the floor is yours.
Okay. A college degree is useless and all of you should drop out right now. Whoa. Hold on a second. Before you pull the trigger on that, can you give me a couple of minutes to explain myself? My topic today focuses on whether a college degree is necessary for success in the real world. This is an important issue for all of us because soon we'll be entering the job market. Many of us putting in time, effort, money into earning a degree. But the question still remains, is it really worth it? This topic interests me because, like many of you, I've wondered if the investment in a degree will pay off in the long run. To better understand this issue, I explored the latest research on college degrees, earnings, and career success. Today, I will inform you about a current debate surrounding the value of a college degree. I will share evidence from 3 credible sources, an article from Bankrate by Heidi Rivera, another from CBS News by Annie Peakey, and a report from the U.S. Department of Education. We'll look at both sides of the argument and the data they present so you can decide for yourself. The question on whether a college degree is essential for career success has become a hot topic in recent years. According to CBS News, more young people and experts are questioning whether the cost of a college education, with rising tuition fees and student debt, is justified by the return in income. Some argue that there are alternative career paths that don't require a degree and still lead to financial successes. First, Heidi Rivera from Bankrate reports that the average starting salary for a graduate in 2024 is about $55,000 a year, and this figure is expected to rise steadily over the next few years. In contrast, those without a college degree tend to earn less on average. Second, Amy Peakey from CBS News highlights a report from the Pew Research Center showing that while there are success stories of entrepreneurs and professionals who don't earn a degree, they are the exception rather than the rule. The majority of high-paying jobs still require at least some form of post-secondary education. Lastly, from the National Center for Education Statistics reveals that individuals with a bachelor's degree have significantly higher annual earnings than those with only a high school diploma. According to NCES, those with a bachelor's degree earn on average of $69,000 annually, compared to $45,000 for high school graduates. When comparing these sources, one similarity is clear. Higher education often leads to higher pay. Both Bankrate and NCES show a direct link between holding a degree and earning more money. However, CBS News presents a more nuanced view, acknowledging the growing trend of individuals succeeding without formal education. The major difference lies in how these sources frame the necessity of a degree. While Bankrate and NCES focus heavily on salary data, CBS challenges the traditional narrative, pointing out that the rise of entrepreneurship and vocational training could shift the job market in favor of non-degree holders. Today, I've informed you about the ongoing debate on whether a college degree is necessary for success. I've shared evidence from Bankrate, CBS News, and National Center for Education Statistics, and analyzed the similarities and differences in their perspective. In closing, while a college degree is still valuable for many career paths, we should also recognize that success can come through different routes. The key is finding what works for you, so maybe don't drop out just yet, but keep an open mind about the possibilities beyond traditional education. And I'll leave you with this quote from Earl Graves, founder of Black Enterprise Magazine. To have a successful career, you have to approach it as an entrepreneur. Even if you are working for someone else, your career is your own private business. You have to market yourself and your abilities and your knowledge just as you would a product or a service. Thank you. Oh,
All right. 4:57.
that was tough.
All right, talk to me. What are you thinking?
I really got nervous, which is not common for me. And it kind of made me, I don't know, like my pace increased. I don't know if that was noticeable. Yeah, I don't know why I got so nervous.
Okay, so sometimes we can put
Yeah.
finger on why we think we were nervous, but you don't know.
I don't know because I've spoken public. It's I would say that it's natural for me. I spent 13 years in the military, and I guess, well, maybe it is. While in the military, I had plenty of like leadership roles, so I had to like teach. I was essentially a teacher. So I taught what I knew, and I guess like during this class, it's different because I don't, not that I didn't study the subjects and try to be prepared, but still, it's not my cup of tea, I guess. So maybe,
It's not your everyday topic,
yeah,
right? I think that's a big difference is when you were in the military and you were asked to teach and train things, it was stuff that you probably knew in your sleep, right?
Yeah.
Like
right,
someone could just be like, "Hey, can you come up here and talk about this?" And you'd be like, "Sure, let me show you what I know." And you can just talk about it.
yeah,
And I think that's the difference is this is probably a topic that you've never spoken about in front of a group of people.
no, absolutely not.
Never, right? So that's probably where the nerves are coming from is the content and the comfort about being the subject matter expert on this topic. Like we're
Yeah,
looking at you right now to be the subject matter expert.
right.
Like, oh, me? What? Right? I think that's the difference. That's what I would suspect. Because we are not like an intimidating bunch of people. So it has nothing to do with that,
Right.
right? It has to do with how well you know. And that's why when you do get to pick your topics, it's so like the three key things that I say is pick a topic that you're passionate about, pick a topic that you know well inside and out. Like being a subject matter expert on something always makes it easier. And then the third thing is always, audience analysis. Is your audience going to care about what you're talking about? And if you think
Yeah.
that you may love it and you may know everything about it, but if your audience doesn't care, it's really hard to get excited about it. So I would suspect it's that. So far, now I've not seen everybody's, but so far I would say you are the winner on the attention getter and the memorable close of the evening.
Thank you.
That was good. That was really, really good. I mean, it just made your topic way more interesting that you're
Right.
like telling us to drop out. It's like, wait.
Sorry
No,
about
so I
that.
thought that was really good. And I'm excited for you also that you had some skeptics about this being a good topic, right?
Yeah.
Being a current event, and it really truly is. So I'm glad you pushed through and you asked and you checked, like, is this something I could do? Because it is very relevant. And because you were able to go out and find credible sources talking about this, it is a current event. It's being talked
Yeah.
about. Now, there's some things that are a little distracting in the media right now that may not have this like front page news, but there are people in circles talking about it, which makes it a current event. So
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I thought it was great. I like I said, I loved your attention getter, loved your close, and clearly organized, followed the format to a T, which I appreciate the template. So all around, good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what would my level up be for you? It would just be continuing to find that topic that you just feel really good about and that you're comfortable with. And we don't always get that option. Sometimes we are assigned a topic and we have no choice. And so you have to be able to just kind of figure out a way to relax yourself. And it's a little bit of self-talk, like, yeah, I know nobody else in this room has been doing this research. I got this. I know this, I can be a trusted source for this. So that would be my level up.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thank you. All right. We are okay. So this is the order that I have, guys. I have Gabby next, Lydia next, and then I have Janae. Is that still an order that works for you guys? That's just sort of how people drop their names in. Okay, super. So that means Gabby, you're up next. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you in a different background? Are you in a different space?
Yeah, you were over there in front of my PC setup, but now we're facing. I like this background more.
Yeah, that's cool. I just was like, wait a minute, this is not your cool setup, but this is a cool setup too. I like this. Just
Yeah.
noticing the background. That's the other thing we can do in this class is we can play with our backgrounds, play with our lighting, figure out what should be behind us, what works. So I'm glad you're switching it up just to see what works. Okay. All right. We're ready when you are.
Have you ever wondered how technology might transform our skincare routines? Today, there's an exciting trend in the beauty industry, the rise of AI-driven skincare solutions. For college students, finding an effective and personalized skincare solutions can be a challenge, making this topic particularly relevant for this audience. Imagine a world where your skincare routine is tailored to your specific needs. AI technology is constantly changing and reshaping the skincare landscape by analyzing individual skin conditions and recommending customized treatments. Today's speech will explore this growing trend. Evidence will be drawn from these three sources: the New York Times, Forbes, and Vogue. To explain how the AI is transforming in the skincare industry, highlighting both similarities and differences across both sources. AI-driven skincare represents a major development in the beauty tech, according to the New York Times. AI systems have the ability to analyze thousands of skin images to generate personalized skincare recommendations. This technology is designed to access individual skin conditions, offering tailored treatments that increase to the precision and effectiveness of our skincare routines. The New York Times article, How AI is Revolutionizing Skincare, focuses on technological advancements in AI, explaining these systems to analyze data to offer personalized skincare solutions. In the Forbes article, The Investments Boom in AI-Driven Skincare, this highlights the economic growth tied to the AI skincare technology, discussing the surge in investments and the rapid expansion of skincare startups. In contrast, the Vogue article, The Future of Skincare and AI Personalization, focuses on consumer experiences, showcasing testimonials and innovations that have made AI skin tools more accessible for everyday users. These three sources emphasize the AI transformative impact on skincare, particularly in the terms of personalization. However, they approach from the topic from different angles. The New York Times dives into the technological aspects. Forbes focuses on the financial growth of AI-driven skincare market. Vogue provides the insights of a real-world applications of consumer experiences. Today's speech covered the rise of AI-driven skincare, drawing evidence from the New York Times, Forbes, and Vogue. The similarities between these sources were noted, such as AI role in transforming skincare personalization, as well as their different focuses, ranging from the technological innovations, the economic growth, and consumer experiences. Understanding these advancements allows for a broader view of how technology is influencing I forgot where I was.
Okay, just take a second. It's okay. I stopped your timer. You're good.
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
to shut my door anyway because my family's home. So just take a second. You're fine. Did you find your spot?
Understanding these advancements allows for a broader view in technology. It is influencing self-care, a topic that will likely continue to grow as an importance as AI develops further. Thank you for your attention. I hope that you found the exploration into AI-driven skincare as fascinating as I do.
All right. With that little pause, 3:53. So talk to me, Gabby. What's your self-talk right now?
I kind of got lost. I made a note and I told myself when to breathe because last time I just kind of freaked out and now I had another freak out and I didn't mean to. I'm really excited about this topic. I love this topic. I love the skincare and the AI, and I have like a whole presentation for my final. Like I was making a slideshow. I didn't finish it, and I want to present it so I can show what people it looks like.
Yeah. It's okay. So I care more about what do you think went wrong? What would you do? So like if you had a complete do-over, what happened that made you lose your place?
I don't know. I kind of went blank, and I don't know.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking you again, just know guys, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. That's like not in my DNA. Like not trying to make you feel bad. The reason why I'm asking is because like it could be, and I'm laughing because this is the type of thing I would do. Like you hit the space bar and the screen went away, or you just went blank and lost. So I'm trying to understand if it was like a technical glitch or if you really just had like an out of body experience moment that I talk about a lot where you're kind of on autopilot and then you come back to reality and you're like, where am I? Was it more
Yeah.
like mental something happening than like technology?
Yeah.
Okay. That was because I just want you to be honest about it because that's where then we want to work on. If it's technology and you just didn't have your notes in a good spot, we can fix that. Like next time, let's do our notes in a different spot. But this was really just, would you describe it as you had a moment where you just were on autopilot and it was like almost like you were watching yourself presenting and you're like not present in the moment?
Yep.
Okay. I can describe that because I have that a lot. So it's a thing. And it's like, it's just the best way to describe it is when you're driving home and all of a sudden you're like, I'm home and I don't remember how I drove here.
That is exactly what happened. I was like on autopilot. I was like doing good, and then I don't know what really happened.
So you weren't in the moment is kind of what it was. And so for level up for you is like figuring out ways to actually embrace being in the moment. And sometimes, you know what, I think it's a defense mechanism for some of us. It's like if I sort of just check out and I roll through this, the speech will happen without me. And the truth is we really have to be present to make the speech happen. So I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is actually a good realization. I would rather all of these things happen together with us in this class than happen the next time you have to go talk to Vogue and present in front of Vogue. Right? Might as well practice it here. So don't beat yourself up. I think it's totally fine. Let's talk a little bit more about this. I mean, it doesn't have to be tonight. Sleep on it, watch it back, and then let's just figure it out. Let's figure out some things. I like that you told me you're writing notes in your notes to breathe. We might need to just add some more notes and some things that maybe some exercises that maybe you want to do before you start so that you you ground yourself and you get yourself prepared mentally to be like present. And we can have some offline conversations about that because I've been in your shoes. I've done exactly what you're experiencing. So we'll talk more. Sound good? Okay. But with that being said, put all that aside. You had a little bit of a background noise distraction there for a minute from your audience. And you rolled through that. You kind of like made you stop for a second and you're like, what's going on? But then you kept rolling through. So that was good. You rolled through that distraction. My biggest note for you is that I did feel like you were reading more than talking to us. Because even where your eyes were focusing, it didn't feel like you were looking at us. It felt like you were reading. So that's part of the stuff that we want to work on. But I loved your topic. I could tell you were passionate about it. What I really, really liked about yours, it was an ideal example of different sources. You had completely different sources on the same topic, from the New York Times to Vogue. That is cool. One taking a financial perspective, one taking more of a beauty perspective or whatever it was. That was the perfect example of one topic can have completely different sources that are going to be focusing on different aspects of the topic. So I thought that research that you did in finding the similarities and the differences was spot on, was really, really good. So nice work. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right. And again, you and I can talk more offline. But don't, it's like not a big deal. It really isn't. Again, I'd rather it happen here than happen someplace else. So we're going to work through it. All right, Lydia.
Hello,
you
can you guys
ready?
hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Yeah, ready.
All right, let me get my timer going. Give me 1 second or set up. All right, floor is yours.
Imagine seeing a viral TikTok trend that promises you free cash at ATMs. This was me and my husband a couple of weeks ago just doing our nightly scroll on TikTok, and we saw this trend, and our immediate reaction was, that's not true. You don't get free money at ATMs. But for many people, they saw this on TikTok and everyone was lining up at Chase ATMs trying to get free cash. So what turns out, what everybody seemed to be a glitch was actually a serious illegal mistake. Today, I'll be discussing the viral Chase ATM glitch that trended on TikTok at the beginning of this month. This issue is important because it highlights how easily people can fall into illegal traps on social media and just following any viral trend without doing further research on their own before they try it for themselves. For students and young adults who use ATMs regularly and have banking systems, I feel like this is just an important conversation to have about not letting social media or TikTok kind of influence you when you're making kind of important decisions that have to do with your money and finances. And as someone who's fascinated by the influence that social media trends have on the actions of many people, I was very intrigued by this event that happened. So I decided to do research on the Chase ATM glitch to better understand exactly what happened and kind of what caused this to go viral. Today, I'm going to inform you about this event and share evidence from USA Today, CNN Business, and the Wall Street Journal, and discuss how they covered the topic, similarities and differences. The Chase ATM glitch went viral on TikTok earlier this month, showing people depositing checks for large sums amount of money, then withdrawing cash before the checks are cleared. It all started when there was a banking glitch on Chase's end that kind of allowed their customers to withdraw more money than was actually in their account. According to USA Today, many people believed they had found a glitch in the system that allowed them to keep the cash, but obviously that's not so true. USA reported how the glitch started trending on TikTok, while CNN Business focused on the banking processes that led to this confusion. The Wall Street Journal emphasized the financial consequences, noting how many users saw their accounts go into negative balances after trying this hack. All three sources agree that Trace addressed the issue afterwards, but also stressed that these actions were 100% fraudulent. There are notable similarities in how these sources covered the event. All of the outlets confirmed that the event was not a glitch, but obviously a case of fraud. However, CNN Business provided more details on the legal ramifications and the personal stories of the people who faced financial ruin after trying this trend. Today, I informed you about the Chase ATM glitch that trended on TikTok based on evidence from USA Today, CNN Business, and the Wall Street Journal. This event highlighted the dangers of falling for viral trends that seem too good to be true and reminded us of the legal and financial risks involved. In banking, errors are almost never in your favor. What may seem like free cash can easily turn into a costly, illegal mistake if you're not careful.
Lydia, that was so good. That was really good. Yeah. 336. Okay, so entertaining. You could like so don't be intimidated by Lydia, guys. She does this a lot.
I literally did not I was so dreading this day the whole time. Like, oh my gosh, I actually coming off of a cold and I didn't have time to practice. And I wrote the script a while ago and I was just dreading it. So that's very surprising to hear that actually.
Yeah, no. But again, well, first of all, I mean, I'll talk about your speech writing in a second because that's a different topic. But just your comfort, like that microphone, the camera, you you've shared with us that you and your husband do some videos and stuff like that. So there's a comfort, right? So that it, not to discredit that you just did a good job, but also it's just sort of sharing with the class that practice, like you have practice. Because you have had practice, you can kind of wing it. Right? Because you're like, okay, I can do this. And I'm not worried about the camera, I'm not worried about the microphone, I can just do this. But so you're fun and you're entertaining to listen to, right? So I think that's just obvious. But the speech writing was great. The topic was fun and interesting, and sort of like the praise that I gave Gabby about finding references that gave some interesting differences. You broke that down really well too, about the one talking about the what it does to the banking impact. Like all of your sources had a sort of a different angle. And I know that's not fair for some of you who had sources that like did not give any differences, but these are good examples of what we're looking for. So they can all be credible sources, but it's just interesting to look at what is it that they focus on, what are the similarities and what they focused on and the differences. I mean, if I were to give you, for you, where you are in this moment as a public speaker, a level up, it would have been, could you have done a little bit more for your attention getter and your memorable close? They were good, but I'm talking to you about where you are right now as a public speaker. And I think you had some really clever, smart things that were within your speech about, like, come on, guys, like there's no such thing as free money, right? We know this. I think you could have, if you had a little more time, you could have probably had a really super powerful attention getter and memorable close to wrap around a really good package of a speech. Fair to say?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay, good. But I have spot on comparison. You were, right where you needed to be with time, and you covered all of the requirements in the template. I guess the one thing that you didn't share maybe was your credibility on this topic, or why this one fascinated you. You might have been able to do a little bit more there, but at the same time, I just think this was sort of a fascinating, interesting topic that any of us might have picked up on it. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. So overall, really good job.
Thank you.
All right. I think if I'm not wrong, last one, Janae? Is that our
I
last
think so.
one? Gone, right? So again, class, thank you everybody for hanging on. I know it's a long stretch of an evening, but for the person that pulls the shortest straw and goes last, it's appreciated that people don't just start jumping off. Right, Janae?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We are ready when you are.
Did you know that the Paralympics have a rich history and date back to 1948? The International Paralympic Committee website states that Sir Ludwig Guterman organized a sports competition for World War II veterans with spinal cord injuries. This event evolved into the first Paralympic Games, which were held in Rome, Italy in 1960. This year, Paris held the 17th Paralympic Summer Games. The Paralympic Games are not just about the sports. It is about the athletes overcoming their abilities or their disabilities and challenges. Watching these athletes and hearing their stories is inspiring and encouraging. After reading through the International Paralympic, Official Olympic, and the NBC Olympic websites, I am excited to share my findings. Today, I am going to inform you of the Paralympic Games and a couple of inspiring stories. I will share my evidence and explain the similarities and differences that I found in my sources. The Paralympic Games were held in Paris this year from August 28th to September 8th. According to the Olympics website, even though this is the 17th Paralympic Summer Games, this is only the 12th to be hosted in the same city as the Olympics. The Paralympic site states that there is around 4,400 athletes that competed this year. Those athletes would compete in 549 medal events across 22 sports With many events, there were some memorable moments and inspiring stories. Our first story comes from Team USA. Allie Truitt is a member of the swim team. In her debut Paralympics, Allie earned herself a pair of silver medals, competing in the 400-meter freestyle and the 100-meter backstroke. The main reason this is such an inspiring story is because in 2023, Allie was an able-bodied swimmer on the Yale swim team. According to NBC Olympics, in May of 2023, Allie lost her leg to a shark attack. Allie had very little time to recover both physically and mentally to get back in the water and relearn to swim. But she pushed through her fears and tears to earn her Paralympic medals. From Team USA to Team India, where 17-year-old Sheetal Devi competed in archery. Devi was born with phocomelia, a rare congenital disorder. Olympics.com article states that this condition resulted in her arms not fully forming, and Sheetal uses her feet for shooting her compound bow. She is only one of 3 Paralympians this year to do this. While she only finished 9th in the individual compound competition, Sheetal and her teammate won bronze in the mixed event. This bronze medal helped Team India to have their most successful Paralympic campaign to date. And according to Paralympics.org, it also cemented Sheetal as India's youngest Paralympic medalist. When looking through the NBC Olympics website, along with the International Paralympics and Official Olympics website, I did not find many differences in what was offered, in what sports were offered for the athletes, or how many events and how many athletes. Both Olympics.com and Paralympics.org stated that there's 22 sports offered with 549 medal events, and that there are about 4,400 athletes competing this year. Between all 3 websites, trying to find differences with Allie Truitt and Sheetal Devi's stories was a little more difficult as well, but I was able to find a few. NBCOlympics.com was the only place that showcased Allie's story in the top news. When I went to search Allie Truitt's name in the other 2 websites, Paralympics.org did not have any stories about her, but Olympics.com did. Both the NBC Olympic and the Olympics articles go more in depth about Allie's shark attack, hospitalization, and road to recovery. The NBC Olympics article has more interview responses and quotes from Allie, though. Paralympics.org and Olympics.com both had articles on Sheetal Devi and showcased her as a top story. NBC Olympics did not have anything about Sheetal Devi. The articles on Paralympics.org and Olympics.com for Sheetal Devi both explain about her and her partner winning the bronze medal. The Paralympics.org goes a little more in depth and has quotes from Sheetal herself about feeling the pressure of competing. Today I informed you of the Paralympic Games and a couple of memorable stories. I shared evidence from Paralympics.org, Olympics.com, and NBCOlympics.com, and then explained the similarities and differences. As we reflect on the stories of Allie Truitt and Sheetal Devi, we are reminded that the Paralympics are not just about sports. They are about the achievements of the human spirit. All of these athletes show us that with determination, courage, and strength, we can overcome any obstacle.
All right. Good job, Janae. 5:55 is your time.
Oh,
You had a lot of information.
I
You really
I
did.
tried to shorten it as much as possible, but I couldn't.
It was you know what it was? It was, I think, the challenge around the comparison, the similarities and differences that did it. I think you were really trying to check that box, and I think that pushed it into being too long. And I think that was exactly what it was. I think you are so thorough that you were trying to be very specific about how the coverage was different. And maybe if you had brought it up to a higher level and just simply talked about that these different news outlets cover the Paralympics, but it's interesting about what they feature. And you could say this particular news story featured the number of medals and the this and this and the statistics. This particular outlet really did more of the personal stories. And you could have maybe, instead of diving in so deeply about those two athletes, you could have just talked about, one was more of a human interest approach and the other was more of like, you know what I mean? Like, and now
Yes.
you're probably like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yes, it does.
That's what we have to do. We have to like drag ourselves through all of this to be able to like stop and look back at it and be like, oh my gosh, I think I was overthinking that a little bit. So that's what I would say is I think on this one, maybe you just overthought the assignment. You were right though. I mean, you did the assignment. I think you probably just did it more than you needed to. You probably could have done it a little more high level.
Gotcha.
So again, totally fine. It was good practice. Definitely good practice.
Yes.
Overall, I wrote that you gave a great overview of the Paralympics and, that it's why it was a current event and why college students, your audience would be thinking about it. The more time that goes by though, since you picked the topic and where we are now, it's not such a relevant topic. But again, Harlan had the same thing. It was like, well, when he wrote it weeks ago, it was like the thing, and now, some time has passed. And I think the same is true with your topic for sure. But I really praise you for sleuthing to get those differences. Like I can tell you put a lot of time and energy into doing it and you did it right. I think what it did is it just kind of drug down your speech a little bit. So that's just a lesson learned for next time. But I wrote great overview, good energy. The way you started, it was very conversational, good energy, and really just great digging into the research and the data. So I thought you did good there. How did it feel compared to your last one?
So I felt really good until I get to the similarities and differences. So that's where I kind of I kept stumbling and all of that. But I mean, it felt good. Yeah.
Well, don't lose sleep over that. That was just that one section, and I think exactly right. I just think you were just trying to do it exactly right, and it was hard for your topic. So don't even worry about that. The gist of it was you got through, you did this presentation, and you were able to present the information well. You checked all the boxes of what you needed to do. So is it going to be your favorite speech of this semester? Probably not, but it was still a really good speech. So I would leave it at that. Good? Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. I hope this takes away some stress of having to find your own audience and all of that. I appreciate you being here and you staying the whole time. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you guys online. Okay? Good night, everybody.
Thank you.